Well, hello there, my friends, and welcome to League of Philosophy. I'm your host, Stranac, Strange Anak, and today we're going to be covering Tao of Jeet Kune Do. Okay, so Tao of Jeet Kune Do is a book created by Bruce Lee, and it has heavy links to Buddhism, and today we're going to be covering it in accordance to Solo Queue and League, and I would heavily recommend the text in case you don't know what it is. Okay, so the first topic I want to get into is how probability divinely favors you. Uh, and this might seem a little bit confusing to you, but I'm gonna conjure forth an analogy for you. So, as we see in many sports like football and things like this with betting and such, they have a system called player ratings. Now, when you play League of Legends, I would like you to sort of imagine that you have this God watching you, giving you a player rating in each game that you play. And the reason why I want you to do that is because over a long period of games, if you perform at a high enough player level, your rank will increase. Now, as we can see here, the system so many people think is kind of against them, but the system is actually in your favor. And no, you're not getting unlucky compared to other people, and you don't have bad teammates and things like that, and you need to grind, so you want the system to be in your favor. And we have a nice quote here from Tao Jeet Kune Do. The way to transcend karma lies in the proper use of the mind and the will. The oneness of all life is a truth that can be fully realized only when false notions of a separate self, whose destiny can be considered apart from the whole, are forever annihilated. Now, the way in which we can interpret this is that the karma is the system, and we need to realize the truth that our actions are a result of what we do, and that we need to pursue that truth, and we will be favored. So I want you to imagine in each game. So let's say, for example, you have a griefer and a troller. I don't want you to focus on what they're doing. I want you to focus on what you could be doing in order to win that game. And over a long period of time, you may only win maybe one or two out of 100 of those games, but it adds up and it's about the long haul. It's the sort of tortoise and the hare analogy. The tortoise will always win the race. So make sure that you're applying that. Okay, so secondly, approach in the Eightfold Path. So Bruce Lee mentions how Buddhism has an eightfold path, and what we can see here, it's an eight-step process, and I think it's a very good way in order to approach solo queue. So step one is very much seeing what's wrong with your climb. So as you can see, it says right views. So you need to understand that you are doing something wrong if you are not achieving your goals. Because the system, as we've mentioned, is very fair. And if you are at a certain level, you will improve. And secondly, you need a willingness to improve. If you don't have the willingness to improve and you're blaming externals, then you will never be able to improve. Uh, and then moving on to step three, you need to speak as to aim at being cured, which means that you need to remove bad rhetoric. You need to stop saying things like, "Yeah, I could have won this game if it wasn't for my team," and things like this. And as we move on from the rhetoric, we need to have the conduct and the actions. So we need to VOD review. We need to sort of work towards the process of being or improving in general. And as we see here, moving on to step five, vocation. Now, at first glance, you might think, well, Stranac, what has this got to do with League of Legends? But the real answer is that your healthy habits in real life will translate into the game. So as you can see, I've got a picture of Tyler One here in his famous slump, and that is that if you are rage queuing and you are tilting, that is a reflection of real life. You need to have the restraint to say, no, I'm going to play a 3 block, I'm going to play a 4 block, I'm going to just play these games, and whatever the result is, I'm going to be happy with that, and I'm going to put it to bed. Um, and number six, effort. Very underrated. You need to get the games in. A lot of these people who are like gold, platinum, elo, you just simply do not have the sample size required in order to hit the rank that you're trying to achieve. And number seven, mind control, right awareness. You must feel and think about it incessantly. Now, you need to get into the process, guys. You need to be thinking, VOD reviewing. You need to think originally about how you could have changed stuff in that game, not about what your favorite streamer says, what you think you could have done. And as you see as well, right concentration, meditation. So you need to understand and contemplate with your mind somewhat how you need to be able to put the games to bed. So when you get out of a game, whether it be a terrible game, you've had a troll, a feeder, you've done bad, you need to have the awareness to be able to put the game to bed and not think about it in the future. So that is very, very important. And there's one quote up there that I really like. Turn into a doll made of wood. It has no ego, it thinks nothing, it's not grasping or sicky. Let the body and the limbs work themselves in accordance with the discipline that they have undergone. Now, I think that's really interesting to think about because you kind of want to be applying your technique in a way that isn't emotional. You need to think of your thought process as robotic. Like you should do this when this happens, this when this happens, this when this happens. You should sort of have that process in your mind. Okay, I'm moving on. Flow state and removing distractions. So this, I would say, is all about creating a healthy learning space for you when you play. So whether that be you don't want background noise, you don't want to stream it in a Discord, you don't want to do all of these things. You need to have a healthy space, and you can't be alt tabbing. You can't be going on your phone if you're trying to improve, and especially important in downtimes. And I see a lot of people wasting these downtimes. Now, if you don't know what a downtime is, it's things such as death timers, it's things such as when you're in the fountain, things like this, walking to lane. It's very, very important that you are thinking during these downtimes. And another thing as well, in loading screens, you really should be imagining your lane matchup in your mind. So in level 3 and level 6, how your champions intertwine, how your abilities are going with others, and things like this. I think it's a very, very pivotal part. Uh, and lastly, I would like to thank you for watching. This is somewhat of a trial video, but if you would like to see more League of Philosophy type things, then I'm very much happy to make it. And it was a blast making this, so yeah. Thanks for the constant support and kind words, and yeah, I appreciate it, everyone. Bye bye.